Hello and welcome to my May 18th, 2026. This is video number 6. In this video, I'd like to make about my blueprint of the universe theory, mechanics of time. Now, before I begin, I want to add that number one, I'm not an expert, I'm not a physicist, and I'm not a mathematician. I wish I was. If I could live my life all over again, then that is what I would choose to do. But it is what it is. So take everything with a grain of salt. Hopefully, you find it at the least fun and entertaining. Number two, everything that I'm talking about comes from things I learned during two experiences I had where I believed I was in communication with God, but the communication was through memories. I never heard a voice and I've never seen anything. I've never hallucinated. So both of the experiences where God was giving me my memories back about my life in everlasting life. In the first experience, I only learned about 50 things about my life in EL, and the rest of it was very technical. It was about our design, about God, and about the design of the universe. And the first experience lasted 5 months. The second one was January 2022, and that one lasted only a month. So the two experiences were actually really different from each other. But during both of them, there were memories that I received about the design of the universe. And it was especially during the first one that I remembered conversations with God. In Yale, though, we call God Father. So I remember conversations with Father about the design of the universe, and God himself said that there is no physical past upon which even he can look back upon. Even God cannot see the past because the past is not there. We exist in the present. The present is real. Only the present is physical. And we plan the future. The future is a place for all possibilities. So the future is not predetermined. The future is continuously being updated by decisions made in the present. So right now, scientists believe that if you could time travel to the past or the future, you would get there and you would be in a physical future or a physical past. And you could then integrate and not only observe but also interact with the environment of the future and the past. But when you think about that, then that means that the entire timeline of the universe is a series of frozen present moments. So let's say at Planck time intervals, so a very, very high frame rate of frozen moments, physical moments. So what does that mean for our life experience then? If the past and the future are actually physically there, does that mean that we experience time only in our consciousness? Now, intuitively, we know this is not happening because we're in the present, and the present is very real to us, isn't it? And so that's the difference between my theory. My theory also says that the entire universe exists with all of its 3 time dimensions all the time at the same time, right from the Big Bang. As soon as the universe is created, it knows its entire histories. It knows its entire history. It's created with a future, but the future is something else. It's not physical. And the past is not being played over and over and over and over. So nobody is suffering in the past for eternity. Everything happens only once in infinity. That is how special you are. So this is also a literal theory of what the math in the superstring theory and the M theory could mean, and what the dimensions could be. Both superstring theory and the M theory are considered to be correct, but they are merely two different states of the universe. And so superstring theory defines the present future moment, and the M theory defines the present present moment. You'll understand that real quick here. And lastly, in order for this hypothesis to work, the entire universe has to be in the event horizon of a cosmic black hole. So there's a theory right now that the universe is inside of a black hole singularity. But in order for this theory to work, the entire universe must, in fact, be in the event horizon. And this also could explain expansion, rapid expansion. So yes, just sit back and enjoy and try not to laugh at me. So this is an interpretation of quantum mechanics. So imagine that time is made up of slices of present moments. Yes, but remember, these present moments override each other in my theory. So they're not existing in a physical or a future state of the universe. Where and when would this present moment slice begin, and where and when would it end? How long is the present moment slice? And that's what this writing will answer. So our universe is a matter universe, yes, but it is predominantly a time universe, like a clock, which would be the cosmic black hole of clocks, which is the local present time everywhere in the universe. So I watch a lot of videos by physicists like Brian Greene, who is like my hero. And he always talks about reality. You know, reality is this, but nobody's ever defined reality. What is reality? So I'm defining it as physicality. Matter is reality. So the reality of what happens is when gravity begins to warp space present. Perhaps this happens at atom size. And it's this moment in time that's described by the M theory. And this moment, the collapse of the wave function, which is the present moment, happens once in infinity. So imagine that the present moment slice, well, there's a point where it touches the future and there's a point where it touches the past. And so that would be the present future and present past moment. And right in the middle, the reality of what happens, that's the present moment. So that means that the present time dimension is made up of 3 points, but they do not make 3 dimensions. They're merely how the dimension is designed. And it is between these 3 points that time dilation happens, depending on gravity or movement through space, macrospace. So I'm kind of sort of, don't laugh, but I think what gravity is, like for example, that of an atom, is the smallest black hole that is able to exist in the universe. So if the universe was a computer, and there would be a grid of space, and then there's a point on the grid, the universe would register that there is matter because it is programmed to find black holes. And all matter creates black holes. So an atom floating through space by itself is big enough to warp space-time. It's big enough to be registered by the universe as a black hole. So we have the tiniest black hole possible down to singularities, or up to the size of singularities. And we know there's singularities that are absolutely mind-blowingly enormous. So superstring theory is the universe before it collapses into the present moment. It is the present future moment of the universe. It is still part of the present, so strings are still matter. They are still part of the present, but it is the present future, meaning it is the right before reality. So reality happens when the wave function collapses, and that would then be the present moment. Superstring theory, strings are in a superposition because they are unwound by time, and they are in a superposition because they're very near to the future time dimension. That is as close to the future time state of the universe as matter is able to exist. So that means that yes, in order for us to travel to the future, it's not a movement through space from point A to point B. You have to shrink yourself down to the size of a string, then divide once more, then poof, you cease to exist physically. And then you'll be in the future state of the universe. And then you'll be able to see the future. Is the future like holographic? Perhaps it's virtual. Perhaps it is something like that. Yes. Perhaps this has to do with light. I don't know. That's just something I thought of right now, so maybe ignore it. But what the future is like could be virtual particles and all the anti-protons, anti-quarks, what we know as a physical universe. So you would get to the future once you cross over, and remember, there is no gravity, there is no physicality in the future time dimension. And the past is the opposite, right? But you'd get there, and the further into the future you go, the more possibilities of that location you would see overlapping. And then the closer to the present moment, physical real matter moment, you get, the more of a true, the more you'd see the reality of what is actually going to happen. So superstring theory is 10-dimensional, 2 length, 2 height, 2 width. That's merely to make the universe 3-dimensional. And this is something that I'm gonna kind of make a more detailed video about later. It's just that, in a way, the 2 length, 2 height, 2 width, it's kind of like a filler. The spatial dimensions to me are not even that important. Past, present, future. The past is singularities, black holes. That means that's where the universe ends. That's where time, remember, time is the present moment. That's where the present moment comes to an end. That is as much as you can, that is as long as you can stretch the present moment to, and then it comes to an end. And that's within singularities. And remember, this is important for the universe to exist within the event horizon of a cosmic black hole. And that's coming later. The present is infinite, so there is an infinite number of presents. And I remember that from EL. Future is finite. I remember that from EL. And space, of course, is infinite as well. So the universe is 10-dimensional. And the M theory is the universe at collapse. Strings collapse into brains. So the superposition, they're in a superposition, then they would collapse into brains, collapse into reality, the present moment. The universe is 11-dimensional, and it is the present because of the presence of gravity. So this is when matter begins to warp space present. So space itself is the 10th dimension, yes, but space and the present time dimension are entangled into space present. These two dimensions, present and space, are entangled. And this is why there is the present everywhere. Every point on the grid has its own local present moment, which is, of course, affected by gravity or movement through space. Therefore, gravity warps space present, not space time. And this is, of course, time dilation. So this present moment can be stretched via time dilation from the very near future moment all the way to the present past moment, where then the present ends. But physically, we cannot time travel. Time travel is impossible. Matter is destroyed at either points of future and past. So you either shrink yourself to a string and then divide once more, and poof, you're annihilated, your matter is gone, or you get crushed and evaporated, irradiated by a singularity. So in EL, I remember that we think of black holes as recycling stations. So they recycle matter. But at the singularity of every black hole, that's where time, the present, space present ends. That's why time ends there. That means that they're really, you could think of black holes as like time traveling, but I'm gonna explain that a little bit later. So I theorize that space without the presence of matter, so just the presence of strings, is always within like a future flux state. So it is very in that present future moment until matter appears and begins to warp the space present. So in my theory, let's say you do travel to the future. Remember, you have to poof, annihilate, you're there only mentally, and you're making an observation of, let's say, the double slit experiment. Because it is without the presence of gravity, you're only ever going to view all of the possibilities. So observation in the future is not that of a reality, it is always of a possibility. So I think, um, interestingly, if you did travel to the future, poof, you would disappear from the future in this universe. And then, if you wanted to travel, you can never travel back to the moment that you left. That moment is gone, it's erased because there's no physical past moment that's being lived over and over for infinity. You could only ever travel to the actual present that is happening. So the longer you stay in the future, the more you're going to miss about what's happening in the present. So there is a lot of redundancies in this writing, so I'm just ignoring those. And the thing is that like when I was writing it, I know they're there, but I didn't know which ones to remove, and so I just left them all. So now we get to the fun stuff, the cosmic black hole and the entire universe being within the event horizon of the cosmic black hole. So what does that mean about reality? It means that somehow this cosmic black hole, singularities, is in every direction that you travel through space somehow. And this could be explained why when you travel at the speed of light, you are experiencing the same time dilation as when you are standing in the event horizon or near the event horizon of a black hole. Because indeed, when you move through macro space very near the speed of light, that is how you get out of the event horizon of the cosmic black hole, and that is how you get very near to the black hole singularity. So that's why the experience of time dilation to the universe is the same, because indeed they are the same. Isn't that cool? When I thought of that, I was just so excited. Um, so, yeah, to the universe, the events are the same thing. So, the past is a singularity, and this is why, maybe this is due to the Higgs field. The Higgs field is like, it's like the fluidity of space that that creates friction, and this is why when you travel at the speed of light, you gain virtual gravity. And like I said, it doesn't matter which direction you travel in. You're If you're gaining speed, you're getting closer to the singularity of the cosmic black hole. How cool is that? So it is because the entire universe exists in this event horizon of the cosmic black hole that you can say that this is the clock. This is how the universe experiences its own time, frame rate, its own present. So I know right now the scientists are saying there is no shared present moment, and I'm saying maybe there is. If this design proves to be true, then that would mean that Planck time is indeed the frame rate of the present moment of the cosmic black hole. That's why Planck time exists. And interestingly enough, it would also be why the speed of light is the speed that it is. Because, in fact, light comes to the end of its own present moment at its 300k kilometers a second. Did I get that right? I always mix it up. But it could be that that is why light, and this is a known theory, doesn't experience time passing because it gets almost out of the event horizon, and perhaps it even does fall into the cosmic black hole singularity at that speed. So photons are still matter. It's just they're, very, very small. But it doesn't matter what size you are. If you're traveling through macro space, and I guess I should have explained that earlier, what quanta space and macro space. But if you're traveling through macro space, then you're going to be gaining that virtual gravity, which happens because you're getting closer to the singularity of the cosmic black hole. And I know this is I feel silly saying this, virtual gravity, but there is a reason why, there's like a drag when you're traveling fast at the speed of light as matter. So you need an infinite amount of energy to move through macro space, the closer to the speed of light you get. So this also could explain rapid expansion. If the universe exists in the event horizon of a cosmic black hole, then the entire universe is experiencing spaghettification. And remember, this singularity somehow is from every direction. Doesn't matter which direction. Maybe that's the space-time, how it is, the shape of it. But because it would be happening all at the same time everywhere at the same rate, then we would never know a difference. But possibly spaghettification affects space differently than matter. So it could be that, yes, matter itself we're all getting stretched. We're getting bigger, just like Mario Big World, right? We're getting bigger, but it's from every direction, and so we would never know a difference. Or it could be that spaghettification is only affecting space. I don't know. It's just a theory. So that means think of universe time like this. So, yes, there's local presence everywhere, including within your own body. But imagine that you're the clock master and you're in a room full of trillions of clocks and they're all ticking at different speeds, but you still experience your own time passing. So that is how the universe would then have its own local time, universe time. Now we can prove that this is true, which would also, firstly, actually, quarks. Let's talk about spooky action at a distance. Space and present are entangled. When you entangle two quarks, they communicate through that present time dimension. Quarks communicate through time, and because the entire universe exists in a continuous present moments everywhere, and because there is a UT time, then that is how we get spooky action at a distance. One way we can prove this is by entangling two quarks and throwing one into the event horizon of a singularity. And if spooky action at a distance still occurs, then that proves that quarks communicate across time, and that time is a UT at Planck moment intervals. Is this possible experiment? Of course not. I don't know how we could ever make that experiment, but so this means that when you are traveling close to the speed of light, you're not really traveling to the future. It's in fact the opposite. You are getting very near to the past. Therefore, when when you get back to the earth after a year, you notice that 1,000 years have passed on the earth. So it's not time travel to the future. If anything, you're not time traveling, remember, because it's always present. You never left the present. That is very important. To truly time travel, you have to get what's the word? Transported from this spot to the same spot in the future. So you kind of think, well, everything's always moving, so is the same spot here, or is the same spot somewhere in space in some future moment after the Earth's moved on? But anyways, or even our solar system, right? But anyways, that is how you would truly time travel. So time dilation is just a normal property of our universe. It has to be so in order for matter to exist. And so I think that this is very interesting, is that the present affects the future. The present changes the future, but the present moment begins in the present future, at the present future moment. So go put a pin on that, because that's quite interesting. So I'm not saying time travels from the future into the present and then ends in the past. Oh, there is only the present. So our time, if you could define time, you would say it's the present. That is time. It's the present. The fact that we know that there's a past is just our experience of having memory. To the universe, there never was a past. To the universe, let's say a tree burns down in your neighborhood. To the universe, there never was a tree. To the universe, as far as it knows, it exists by the present day formula, and there never was a tree. It's always been ash and soot. And there isn't a new tree plant growing. It's always ash and soot. But the present moment slices overwrite each other continuously. And they do this at every grid point. So that means that your feet age, experience time dilation differently from your head, because they're closer to the center point of the earth. Center point of gravity. So quickly, quantispace and macrospace. Quantispace, the quarks in my body occupy a space. So part of the dimensions, 2 length, 2 height, 2 width, is that they occupy space. And that's quantispace. And then I, as a living being, I move through macrospace. So that's the two differences that I sort of forgot. And so quick review. Time travel from matter out of the present moment is impossible. Arrow of time is in one direction, because time is made up of slices of present moment. So even if you did unscramble an egg, you are not reversing time. Time's still moving forward. Present is still being overwritten by the present. Future is not physical. The past is not physical. Traveling at the speed of light and falling into a black hole are the same thing to the universe. Time dilation begins in the present future, moves into the present and ends in the present past. The entire physical universe exists in continuous local present moments amid a universe time. To escape the cosmic black hole singularity, you shrink yourself to a string and gain inertia. But to get very near to the cosmic black hole singularity, you travel at the speed of light, or you become a black hole. This means that all black holes connect to the cosmic black hole singularity. So you cannot tunnel through a black hole to another location in the universe. Yes, they do lead somewhere, but they all lead to the same place, and that's the black hole singularity. And the black hole singularity is where the time stops, the present comes to an end, and this is the same case for all black holes. So it's like the same black hole. It's just, I hope you're starting to see the universe as like a mechanical thing, not like this mysterious something, but an actual God's technology. So if this proves to be true, not only can I then say my experiences were real, I really truly learned something that's real from those experiences, but free will is real. It's in the design because the present is real only, and the present always updates the outcome in the future time dimension. So the future is a place for the outcomes of all outcomes. Therefore, you can imagine that if there is, and there must be, information in some form in the future, it would be so much more information than there is quarks in the physical universe. Because the further into the future you go, the more possibilities. And it would also mean that during my first awakening, God said many times to me, forgiveness is in the design. I didn't really know the relevance of this. I thought it was like the design of, how God designed itself. So God being genderless and God not being a human being. So God is something else. God is an it. So that's what I thought. And it wasn't until I came up with this idea that I realized that because it's in the physical design of the universe that everything happens only once in infinity. And there is no record of the past. Literally, physically, there is no record. It's like if you could time travel to the past, you'd get there and it'd be like static, I guess, on TV. It's the universe. It's still the universe, but it's in a completely different, unrecognizable state. That means when on Judgment Day or your death day, because then that would be your Judgment Day, when you meet God and God asks your permission to cleanse your soul free of the intelligence virus, then you will receive God's forgiveness. And by that, what it means is that God will choose to forget everything negative about you that you've done as infant intelligence. And then because there is no record of the past, even God cannot look back upon what you've done. God will choose to remember only your good deeds. And also, after God cleanses your soul and you first wake up in everlasting life, you will also have no memory of anything negative that you did. You will only remember your good deeds. And this is because of our design. So we are all designed with free will and pre-programmed, if you will. So we all receive the gift of shame and guilt and seek your creator. And so you will not have shame and guilt about things you did as infant intelligence. Therefore, you will not feel as though you don't deserve everlasting life. And this is very important. Makes us very, very happy that we receive ultimate forgiveness. And then you will meet Jesus. Jesus knows all of us in everlasting life. And so I made a video about Jesus. And so everlasting life is the happiness formula. That's why when I talk about it, you just think, oh, she's making it up. I'm really not that creative. I'm not. So lastly, I want to say that there's a lot of videos on YouTube that say the universe is not real, it's a hologram, this and that. Don't believe them. It is real. It is a real life universe. This is how God created a real life experience for us. And we know it's real. Don't let anybody tell you you're not real. So we are God's children and we have a soul. But our soul exists outside of the physical universe. And I'm going to get to that in another video that I've been trying to make, but I'm just have to keep redoing it. But our souls exist outside of the universe and are entangled into our biology. So it's our souls that make us God's children. And our souls are in the image of God in that we communicate. We are intelligence. God is our intelligence Father. Intelligence means communication. We communicate on the same level as God. We are so smart that we understand how God does it. God made us really, really, really smart. It's just that we have a finite amount of time on this earth as infant intelligence. So you're either really intrigued or really confused. So I better end there. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. Please come back tomorrow. I'm going to make a video about my UFOs. So have a nice day and peace.